Like I said, thank you and welcome for being here. We have an agenda set for today. Today, of course, we do the welcome. We're going to go ahead and review our purpose and our goal. Let's review some data. Let's talk about the data and let's make a plan. All right, so our goal. As you know, we talked last PLC. Our goal is we're trying to close the achievement gap between African American and Hispanic students in math. Okay? Now, as you go through and we look at this data, let's talk about first what our demographics are. Okay, and as we know, we're here at Peachtree, and we know that we are African American, racially African American heavy. So if you look right here at the data, 70, or you might as well just say 71% of our students or our population is African American, as well as 21.8 or 22% is Hispanic. And the smaller breakdowns are 4.5% are white or Caucasian, and almost 3% of our population is biracial. Now, let's go ahead and break down the demographics of 3 through 5, grades 3 through 5. As you can see at the top, these are the amount of students that we have in each grade level. Now, this is coming from our 2015-2016 EVOS data. Okay, so it may be a little off, but this is what I say. I believe our EVOS data is true data. It's even broken down to male and females, as well as to Hispanics and African Americans in each grade level. And as you can see, in third grade, as of 2015-2016 year, we had 45 African American students in class, and in the whole entire third grade, 31 in fourth grade, and 41 in fifth grade. Compared to our Hispanics, which is just 21 in third, 13 in fourth grade, and 11 that are in third grade. But what does that mean? It means we have a whole lot of African American students here. Now, let's look at what we know about our EVOS data. We know right now that in grades 3, 4, and 5, in third grade, there was only 26.7% of African American students that were proficient in math, compared to 38.1% of Hispanics. And we know that CCR, Career and College Ready, that means these students scored either a 4 or a 5. Now, out of Career and College Ready, there were only 12.2% of African American students in fifth grade that scored a 4 or a 5, as well as 13.3% in third grade and 16.1% in fourth grade. Those are our African Americans. Now, if you look over here to our Hispanics, look at the difference. 45.5% of our Hispanic population in fifth grade scored a 4 or 5 were career and college ready. 46.2% in fourth grade and 23.8% in third grade. So, in a nutshell, we're talking about this gap. In a nutshell, third grade, there is a discrepancy or deficiency of 11.4% in math from our African American students to our Hispanic students, 31.2% in fourth grade, and a whopping 50.7% in fifth grade.
So it just grows.
It just grows as we goes along. And then here we go. I just put it bigger. 11.4% from Hispanics, between Hispanics and African Americans in third grade. Fourth grade is 31.2%. And fifth grade, it is 50.7%.
And this is career and college ready?
This is proficiency altogether. Now, you know, included in proficiency, when they say proficiency, that's 3, 4, and 5s. Okay? So, I took the data a little bit further. Now, I was unable to see third grade math in EVOS. However, I was able to see, they had third grade reading. But I was also able to see fourth grade EVOS as well as fifth grade EVOS. And like I said, this is from last year. Now, if you look right here, I don't know if you all know how to access this information, but you can go in here and you can see the projected score of your students in reading and in math in EVOS. These are not hyperlinked, but if you go to EVOS, I don't mind showing you all how to get there if you don't know how to get there. But if you look right here for fourth grade, these are current fourth grade students. So these are the students that you all have now in your class. If you look at here, these are our African Americans. Only 4 of our African American students, 11%, are scheduled or projected to score a 70 or higher on Math EOG. 5%, I'm sorry, 5 students or 13% are scheduled from 40 to 70, which will probably be, what, like a level 3. And then less than 40, 29 students. That is 76% of fourth grade African American students are projected to score a level 1 in math. Houston, we may have a problem. And if you look at the Hispanics, look at the difference. And I have it on your sheet so you can be able to compare the two. Compared to 4 students, or 20% of Hispanics are scheduled or projected to make a 4 or 5. One Hispanic student, 5% is scheduled to make a level 3 or 42 or 70, and 75% of your Hispanic students are scheduled to be a level 1 or less than 40%. Now take time and look at the difference between the projection of the Hispanic students that are scheduled to be a level greater than 70%, a level 4 or 5, compared to the African Americans that are scheduled or projected to be a level 5.
And also the fact that it's 29% of African Americans and only, or 29 students, only 15 students for Hispanics.
Yeah.
They project, to be lower than 40%.
Lower than 40%. Right.
And that's a big, that's half.
That's half, yes. All right, now let's look at 5th grade. 5th grade Hispanics. Only, 29% are scheduled to be at a level 4 or 5. None of our Hispanics are scheduled to be or projected to be between the 40 and the 70. And 64% or 9 of our Hispanic students are projected to be a level 1. Now, that's Hispanics. Now look right here at the African Americans.
26. Wow.
26. Once again, Houston, we may have a problem. All right. Only 3 of our African American students in 5th grade are scheduled or projected to have a level 4 or 5. 26 or 76% of our students are scheduled to be a level 1. For Houston, we have a problem. So my question is, let's talk about it.
We really truly have to target those students. We already know what the projected score is, and our target, we got to do some more than just incentives and more than just remediation.
Right.
We have to really target those kids and find out why they are not scoring the levels that they should be scoring. And also, what is our next step is getting them to be proficient. Because if they are proficient on their grade level, then that means they will exceed their projected growth.
Exactly.
And that also means that our school will either meet growth or exceed growth.
Exactly. So what trends do you notice about, like even in your classroom, what do you notice about the African American students and the Hispanic students?
I can go ahead and say that our African American males are not motivated in math at all. So unless you're making a word problem that has some sports in it, they're not interested.
Okay. What you think, Ms.
And I could say it's opposite, well, in my classroom, opposite, they're not motivated in reading at all. But put a word problem in front of them, they're ready to go at it together. And I could say that my Hispanic students, they stick together, and
That's true.
they're in a clan, they're in a community, so it's almost like that, okay, we don't want to exclude anyone, but how do we bring that together, to make it.
So why do you think our students are outperforming, our Hispanic students are outperforming our African American students?
I truly believe it's their culture. It's a part of the fact that we have our Hispanic parents who come to our school, who really and truly want to meet with us, and also cause meetings instead of us calling them to come in for a press conference. No,
They
they
wanna
want to
come.
meet with us and say, how's my child doing? If they go home with a bad grade, they want to know why their child is failing, why their child's not doing A, B, C, or D.
It's the initiative.
Yeah, right.
I mean, if you look at the state of the world, it's more out of necessity now than,
They have to get it.
yeah.
What do you notice about their work ethic in class compared to African Americans and Hispanics? Because like Ms. Shore said, she said, and Mr. Vega, you said this too, that they stick together. You said that the parents, they're involved
community.
in the community. What about the work ethic? What do you notice in class or
A lot
even in
stronger.
tutoring?
I'm not
It
sure.
is a lot stronger. As far as Hispanic students, there's less verbal correction.
Mm-hmm.
You may say it once and they'll get right on track. But as far as African Americans, you know, we have to say it 2 and 3 times,
Yeah, coerce.
which, you know, that's time lost.
And it's,
Right.
and we have a lot of pushback. It's one of the things, they don't want to be wrong. That's it. A lot of times, they're not so sure whether they know the answer or not. And then when all to get to the answer, they don't want to problem solve. And they also don't want to work together. Where Hispanic population, they will work together, try to figure out together, more so than one do it on their own.
I've noticed that a lot of times in class, that a lot of our African American students, they have come accustomed to they have learned a learned helplessness. Woe is me, I don't know how to do this. And I'm like, what do you mean? Compared to our Hispanic students that are trying and they want to get it. I have one Hispanic student that just came maybe about a month or so ago. And I can tell he's low in reading. But that boy works. When I say he works, even though it's something as simple as Chromebooks, he takes pride in them Chromebooks. I mean, they are plugged neatly, they are in order. And I've noticed that a lot about our Hispanic students, that they really want to get it. Like, they know that their parents came here for a purpose. They didn't come to play, they came for a purpose. So I've noticed that a lot too.
But also the fact that where they came from, due to what's going on in the country right now, education wasn't always valued,
Right.
you know, where they came from. So now to be here and to have a free education, they want it. They have a learned desire to have it and to be smart, so they know if they're smart in school, they'll get better jobs, they better take care of their families. It's a long-term thing more so than a right here, right now.
I even know that one of our Hispanic students, we had a parent-teacher conference, and the mom sat there and cried. I think you were in on that conference, and she was like, when I had to go to school, I was so hungry that I couldn't even focus on school. Mom was like, they feed you here, mijo means son. They feed you here. They take care of you. They care about you. Why you just can't do the right thing? Compared to some of our African American students, and I don't want to go culture.
For granted.
They take it for granted, and they expect for us to give you. Right, not all of them, but just some of them. And I've noticed that with the differences between the two cultures. Now,
And also our expectations of our students as well.
right,
That is
We have
very
high
true.
expectations, and if you can work to get it, I expect you to be able to do the same thing. You know, and that's how we close the gap across the board. Teachers have to have high expectations for their students, and then they may perform for you.
right.
And holding them accountable.
Yes, yes, I think that's, and also too, knowing, your students need to know that you care and that you love them. If they don't know or think that you love or care about them, they're not gonna do anything for you. Even the one that you have, and I was about to call his name, the one you have in your class, Mr.
Yes.
Baird, we all know him. And
Yes.
I have not heard a lot from him this year.
That's right.
I have
That's
not.
right.
So, kudos, Mr. Baird.
Thank you. But I believe it's all about building that relationship and understanding that, okay, you know, I am not your past teacher. That's what they're going off of. Well, last year we did this, well, this is a new
Yeah, I
year.
think a lot
It's
of
about
them
setting
do, yeah.
that goal, that foundation, like, okay, well, let's set small goals. Let's reach it. Okay, let's
Right.
celebrate it. So,
I think a lot of our kids come to us and we gotta, for lack of better terms, fix what a teacher before us have done.
That's
And then
right.
you spend the whole first half of the year trying to rewire a child to even be in the attitude of coming to school.
And-
Expectations.
Yeah, expectations and accountability. And I know one student, when we did social justice on Monday, one student, I didn't hear the student read their paper, but they said that one teacher that they had last year knew that he had difficulties reading and would make him read in front of class and when other students would laugh. And he's a fourth grader now.
And he said they discriminated.
They discriminated, she discriminated against him. Yeah, I know, right? Touch him. Touch my heart screen too. All right, so that is all some good information. Now what? Now people can feed you all these numbers and all this data. We know what the data says. Now what? What we gonna do? Okay? What can we do to close this gap between African Americans and Hispanics? Let's make a plan.
well, as far as professionally, we have to, of course, go according to the North Carolina Common Core standards, and as far as the evaluation piece, we have to know the content that we teach. We have to dive into those standards, unpack those standards, and understand, all right, well, this element may be a broad area, but what is it that the students will be able to know by the end?
Right, and I think, or that's another reason why I wanted all of us to be together, because we represent not only the testing grades, but we represent the vertical alignment. Like, we need to know fourth grade, third grade, you need to know what fourth grade needs, fourth grade, you need to know what fifth grade needs before we, continue on to the next school year. How can we use our push-ins? Are we still getting push-ins?
Yes, my push-in still comes regularly.
Mine as well.
To me, sometimes I feel as though the push-in should work on skills, but to me, basic skills. It should not be something that's taught in the classroom. It should be something that should be part of the foundation.
Right.
In other words, with kids struggling with multiplication facts, maybe the push-in can help multiplication facts.
That's what I was thinking too. Like, maybe we could take our push-ins, and take our push-ins and give them, maybe, I call them green bananas because they're not ripe yet, and give them a group of green bananas that focuses on the basics, like the foundational skills of multiplication. Because if you can't multiply, everything else is gonna fall. What about you, Mr. Baird? Now, I know that you teach multiplication in third grade. What is another foundational skill that you feel that your students struggle with?
Fractions.
Okay.
Just understanding that it's part of a whole. See, K2 education, they would just focus on whole numbers and the place value of it, but now understanding that a fraction goes from 0 to 1, they can't place it.
Right.
They just don't see it unless they have a visual, using those manipulatives in the classroom, like the Cuisinart, or just having the number line visible for them.
Also, they can use their hands on manipulatives. Sometimes some kids who can't actually see it spatially, they have to be able to touch it.
Right.
They have to be able to do something else with it to see that 1/2 and 1/2 does equal a whole, and to be able to manipulate some of the manipulatives so that they can get a concept. Because a lot of kids don't know number sense. They don't have the sense that 1.5 and 1.5 does give them a whole, or the fact that 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4 does equal something else. You get what I'm saying? So it goes right back to, they need to have a strong foundation of number sense and be able to roll count, be able to count by twos, be able to count by threes, and do that, then they can multiply.
Right. Even our EC kids, I think that a lot of times our students are labeled EC, and some of them do need them, but I don't think that that's an excuse for them not to be able to perform. They still need to be able to perform, up to level, because when they see that ELG, it's not gonna care about your acronyms that you have behind your name or in your file. Okay.
And a lot of times, just by students becoming EC and being EC, it just means that they need that additional support.
It's scaffolding, right, scaffolding,
And
yes.
so, because I have one student, and she's great in math, but reading, she needs that additional support. So, providing that service allows them to move forward.
And also the fact that you can be HAG and still be EC.
Yeah.
You have a deficiency in one way or the other. So, like I said, getting them more extra support, to help with that deficiency.
I think we might need to be a little more strategic with our push-ins, but also our resources. If they're going to EC services and they know from 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade that fractions is a problem, so maybe that's what needs to be targeted. In addition to their goals, I know when you go in there, you do have certain goals and things that you have to meet, but we need to start being more strategic with our people and our time.
Also with those goals, let them go, you still have to teach the Common Core. Let it be modified.
Right.
Let it fit. Let them be something far left. Don't give me oranges when I got bananas. let it be the same.
Right.
But it has to be modified where the kids can meet that goal.
Exactly. Well, what else did I want to say? This has been wonderful. I really do appreciate it. One more thing. How can we embed math into other subject areas? Now, Mr. Bailey, you're talking about fractions. How can we embed fractions into reading?
That's one we gotta think about. I think we have such a big push in
And having reading and embedded.
I got it right now. Menu. In the cafeteria. Have them read out the menu and ask them, what is a portion? If you have to have 3 things on your plate, what fraction is that?
Exactly.
Green beans compared to your entree, compared to your fruit. What fraction is that? You know, have them be able to articulate and tell you, you know, what it is. And if they eat so much from it, then what fraction is that?
Or I would say too, maybe you could have them when they have pizza one day, have them cut it into fourths. Or, you know, and know that they can't, like, proportionate fourths. You
Right.
know, they can do something like that, or like she said, the menu. Or even like when they get their tray, like how many slots in the tray are there? So there's 5 slots. 3 of my slots are filled, so 3/5 of my tray are filled. And I think a good idea, this one just hit me, give them an index card as they're going to lunch and have them write it down. You know, what's the fraction of your tray? Or, you know, or something like that.
So we did a
I'll
math
try that
stretch.
tomorrow.
Yeah, we might need to. Like, we did a math stretch in PLT, and it was a simple question: how did you use math last night at home? And there were no numbers anywhere. It was all writing, all words, all complete sentences, but it was all focused around math.
That's good. Also too, and I know I see this a lot on the EOG, and I know that we push this in 5th grade, constructed responses. How did you solve it? If it's nothing just but writing down what you did to solve it, if you know it, you should be able to put it out on paper. And once we know that you have it on paper, we know that it's ingrained in your brain.
And I tell my kids constructive response. If you don't know it, then you can't write it. Tell me step by step how you solve this problem and use your math terminologies. In other words, don't say I did, don't say I multiplied, I added, I subtracted, I divided. You know, use those math terms. That way, if they keep on saying it, then they end up doing it.
Because even my daughter, when she was here on Friday and she said, in on Miss Shaw's class, I was like, oh Lord. She said, they're in there and they're talking. And I was like, oh, that girl's using all these big words. I said, math vocabulary. She was like, yes, exactly. So, if you want to, you can go ahead and write on your sheet the plan that we've made, where we said, let's make a plan. I don't have a pen handy. Feel free at your leisure. So we said that we're going to, when we go to the cafeteria tomorrow, one of the things that we can do is we can do fractions with the tray. On pizza day, we could do, you know, slice your pizza into 4ths or 6, or, you know, whatever. And when you give them that tray, give them an index card, you know, and a little pencil to take with them to, you know, to use. Now, as you all are writing there, I'm going to go ahead and end this session. Do we have any questions, comments, or concerns? All right, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.